What's a secret you'll never tell your partner but are willing to tell strangers on Reddit? That she is far more similar to her mother and sisters than she would want to believe. Who wants to admit they ate 9 cans of ravioli? I shit my pants 2 days ago. The wholesome answer? That our youngest son's first word wasn't mama. She was having a busy time at work and already felt guilty about not being home as much. Naturally, he spent most time with me, so his first word was papa. I kept my mouth shut and waited until he said mama and celebrated that as his first word. That I know the word she's looking for, but it's more fun to hear her rattle off increasingly ridiculous, sometimes made up words instead. My best friend is a badger and I feed him sweet corn every morning at 5:20 a.m. Edit. Wow, this really blew up. Me and my badger friend Lucius appreciate all the support. I never paid for her engagement ring. I went to a custom jeweler to have her ring made. It's a beautiful piece, and she loves it dearly, and it certainly wasn't cheap, appraised and insured for around $10,000. The jeweler was dealing with a lot of family issues at the time, and was incredibly disorganized. I went to pick up the ring and brought my checkbook to pay for it, and when she handed me the ring I took it out and asked her who to make the check out to. She said, "Oh no, don't worry about it right now, just send me a check in the mail." I thought that was strange, but sure, okay. She then hurried off to help another customer and I left. But she never told me what the final price was. For the next 6 months, I texted and called the jeweler asking, "Hey, just tell me what amount to put and I'll mail you the check." And there was always a reason she couldn't tell me. "Oh sorry, I'm out right now, I'll find it and text you later." Her shop was a few hours away from where I live, so it wasn't feasible to stop by and handle it in person. I tried for 6 months, but after that I stopped calling, texting and just figured I got the ring for free. I wouldn't tell my spouse, because I don't want her to think I took advantage of the situation or that somehow the ring isn't as meaningful, because I didn't pay for it. I wouldn't stress. You probably just help some criminal organization launder money. When he was away for work for 4 months, and I was working full-time and single parenting and depressed AF, one morning I hurried our kid, 3, out to the car before daycare with my hands full of stuff. I put everything in the car, put it in gear, and looked over my shoulder to back up. I backed up approximately 2 feet and hit the brakes. I didn't put our kid in the car. I was looking at an empty car seat. My toddler was standing beside his door on the passenger side waiting for me, and now he was crying 'cause he thought I was ditching him. If I hadn't looked over my shoulder, I could have run over our kid. Blame sleep deprivation and all the other shit going on, but mom guilt still eats me alive when I think about those 2 feet. And my husband will never know because I don't ever want him to think I'm a bad mom, or know exactly how bad it was for me while he was away. TLDR. Almost ran over my own kid. You're not a bad mom. Shit like that just happens. You would be a bad mom if you didn't feel bad about it. I faked the first 6 orgasms with her. I just wasn't going to come due to anxiety, but I knew she'd be so self-conscious to the point of dumping me if I didn't. So I pulled out and came in a towel or sock. Eventually I got there with her after the nerves calmed, but I am taking that secret to the fucking grave. LMAO edit. One time I even prepped a towel by squirting some lotion in it and showed her how much she made me cum because I'm a liar and a freak. Babe, why does your cum smell like cocoa butter? I'm really tired of everything. Edit. First, I would like to say thank you very much to everyone who interacted with this thread. I didn't expect so many comments. I am very happy with the concern of many of you, and I would like to ask all those who have told me not to talk to my girlfriend but only to my male friends, please try to be more open with your partners. Support and trust has to come from both sides. I have trouble opening up and expressing myself sometimes, but I work hard to improve this, and again I would like to thank those who gave advice on how to improve this. I hope that nobody here gives up fighting to be well, and especially that nobody stops fighting for a better future. Keep standing. With all my heart. Thank you very much. I apologize for the writing. English is not my native language. Same dude, but I encourage you to talk to them about it. We don't need to feel these things alone. I've been so depressed lately. I do not like my job. I have crippling anxiety driving into work every day. I'm in 6-figure debt, so I can't leave. I can't provide the life my family deserves, and it's only going to get tighter in coming months. I cry most days. My wife and son are the only things in my life keeping me going. They do make me happy, though it's a sad happy because I feel like I'm letting them down. My wife knows I'm not myself, but I won't tell her how bad things are. I know it will get better, but it's very hard right now. Edit. Thank you all for your words of encouragement. I will talk with my wife tonight and we'll try to come up with a plan. Not quite sure how, but she is going to get her husband back and my son is getting his dad back. Edit 2. I did talk with my wife. She's worried about me but so supportive. Things are tight, but we'll get through. I made an appointment to talk to a professional. I don't have the energy now, but I'm going for a run on Friday after work and swimming with my son on Saturday. Thank you all. I did read a lot of comments and messages and everyone was supportive or funny. You all helped. I got our toddler out of bed one morning and went to do a sniff test of their butt to see if they had pooed overnight, and when I lifted my child up I stuck their head in the ceiling fan. Oh, and the time I forgot to put the car in park with them in it. I make a shitload of gibberish vocalizations when I'm home alone. No fucking clue why. Just some weird fake language I've been spewing since childhood. Edit. Transliteration attempt, Sabio ni yantas kartesh kitavan? Sargo ketsieva, prish? This kind of shit, constantly, in a sort of Russian, Arabic hybrid intonation. Almost entirely meaningless and 90% improvised apart from a few words that have attached themselves to specific objects, emotions over the years. Edit. You sure you're not a sim? Not sure at all. Like we know that reality perception is just electrical signals in the synapses of our brains. How do we know they're not just neural nets in someone's instance of Earth simulator? My brain tells me to talk gibberish when I'm alone. WTF is that? So yeah, prob a sim. Edit. Lovecraft, goblins, orcs, Khajiit, totally see what you're saying. But this is a function of the transliteration and the weird apostrophes I used. Trying it out with French phonetics, for example. Same sounds. And the vibe is completely different written out. Say bio ni hantasi kartesh ki tovain? Sargo kets cva, presh? I can't remember the last time I was genuinely happy more than just an in-the-moment feeling due to something happening. My default emotion is just depressed, tired. My nieces don't like the aquarium. I just constantly took them there because I thought my now girlfriend, who works there, was pretty and thought if she saw me constantly taking them it'd lead to us talking. Good call. Probably shouldn't tell your wife about your aquarium girlfriend. The girlfriend isn't an actual aquarium, she just works at one. What I actually paid for my woodworking tools. Edit. Obligatory rip inbox. As a few have pointed out, this absolutely applies to pretty much any hobby. And I'll put it here since so many are asking, but I don't actually keep track of how much I've spent over the years, but just the big expensive ones I remember I'm over $5,000 already. Then all the smaller tools, chisels, hand planes, and ultimately I should include the cost of running a 220V single-phase outlet for my jointer and more than I really want to admit to myself. But the joy and sense of accomplishment I get on the completed pieces are worth every penny spent. It really is my happy place. As a guitarist, my biggest fear is that after I die, my wife will sell my guitars for what I told her I paid for them. Edit. I feel like I should probably state, for the record, that this is a long-standing joke in the musician community. My wife actually bought me 2 of my guitars. She knows how much they're worth, lol. I'm in the market for underpriced guitars. Let me know if you kick the bucket anytime soon. The iron bar in the garage isn't a pry bar, it's a manhole cover remover, and I have explored and will explore more. I hope you are using a gas monitor when you go into sewers, storm sewers. Toxic gases are no joke in confined spaces. My husband loves talkative cats. When we first got our kittens I gave them a treat every time they made a meow or chirp. Since I was working from home they ended up becoming very vocal. He still goes on about how lucky we are to have such talkative cats on a weekly basis. Using my alt because she follows my main account. My girlfriend of 5 years has been deaf since she was 6. She reads lips pretty well, but prefers sign language. I didn't know a single sign when I met her, but I could tell right away there was something between us, so I started learning after I got home from our first date. Fast forward a few years, I'm now fluent in ASL and we use it to talk almost exclusively. When she's not looking though, I talk to her even though she can't hear me or see my lips to read. I tell her how much I love her, how I'm going to marry her someday, how beautiful she is, etc. I've even been practicing proposing, so it's not so terrifying when I actually do it. She has no idea and I plan to keep it that way. Update. Link. Our cat didn't break the towel rack. I did. I was pretending to be fighting zombies and grabbed it and ripped the goddamn thing off the wall. I heard her coming to check out the noise and looked down at my cat. She came into the bathroom to me asking my cat, "Why did you think the towel rack could hold your weight? You silly cat." I am terrified that my partner will die because I know I am not really a functional adult outside of my work. I am good for playing with the kids, bringing in a decent income and making food, but the idea of single parenting and taking care of everything fills me with existential dread I have a hard time describing. Obligatory edit. Thank you all for the support and kind comments. I never expected my top comment ever would be about how I worry for the future because I feel like 3 raccoons in a trench coat instead of a human adult. If you feel the same way, just know you aren't alone. That he legit saved my life. He's a nervous, humble guy who doesn't like undue pressure or praise, so I keep it to myself just how bad off I was before he showed up. Because even in the aftermath of my mom's death and even in the face of some pretty nasty health problems, which I was just letting slide because I was so depressed I was kind of hoping they'd kill me, I was very, very good at smiling and being charming. 3 years of taking care of a terminally ill parent taught me how to smile and bear it and feign positivity even when you're running on empty. And I never felt like I could be anything other than the fixer. The doer. The person who always knows what to say. The reliable one. They who has every answer and can make bad feelings go away by just fixing the problem for you. I was not allowed to be negative. Ever. But he, legit came in and helped me with mom's estate and cheerleaded me into getting out of a dead-end career and put a stake in the heart of some severely toxic relationships I had and even helped me budget so I could finally afford health insurance, which wasn't a moment too soon, because I caught shit right in the nick of time. And he just kind of did it. In his mind it was nothing much because you were on the right track, but you had a lot on your plate and needed help, and I just nod and agree because what else do I say? I actually wasn't. I was just going to let myself die because I was exhausted and miserable, smiles aside. Thanks for intervening. No me but my friend, so his wife was really sick but was also extremely stubborn and religious. She believed that God will heal her, so he came to me and asked for a few of my sleeping pills. They're really strong and get you into a deep sleep quickly. So puts the pills in her drink, like clockwork. In 30 minutes she's out cold. He then asks me to help him get her to hospital. Next morning she wakes up in the hospital. Good thing 2 course on top of that sickness she had. She had stage 1 cancer. She survived and it's all good now. But he made me swear I don't tell her what we did. We told her she passed out and wasn't breathing. So rushed her there. And somehow she believed us. Sometimes when we play Mario Kart, I pretend to fail at the end so she can win. I love my wife, but I would never sandbag Mario Kart. If she wants to win, she has to earn it. My wife shit while delivering our son. Something she was terrified she would do. The nurse cleaned up very quickly and gave me a look that needed no explanation. I never said a word. She talked after delivery about how happy she was that didn't happen to her. I'll let her keep that peace of mind for life. I pissed myself on accident trying to not be a two-trip bitch, running my groceries up to my apartment. If not for my partner and my family, I would have killed myself a long time ago. They are literally what I live for, and I can't tell them that because they would worry about me so much. Edit. I am not actively suicidal, and I will not harm myself in the foreseeable future. I'm disabled. He works and brings home the bag. We do get disability pay, so it's still 2 incomes. I mostly clean, but my health gets in the way a lot. But man, I don't think I can ever tell him just how guilty I feel over my inability to consistently contribute. I hate that my disability and health overshadow some days. He gets home from work, and the minute he sees how sick I feel that day he drops everything and ignores his own exhaustion to fuss over me. He should be able to come home to a meal cooked and a relaxing night of sitting on his ass before the next day of work. Sometimes he does get that. But a lot of times it's just us making food together and cuddling and gaming rather than me being able to take care of him. I hate it deeply. Edit. I honestly expected this to get buried LMFAO. Yes, I have talked to him about it a bit. Just not about how often I feel guilty or how deeply I feel it. I do my best to make up for it on my good days. He has no problems with helping me out. At the end of the day, it's my mindset that needs working on. That the thing that made me realize that I was in love with her is when I was taking a shower and got done. I walked into the room and she must not have heard me get out. She was laying on her side on the bed with her eyes closed, and she was picking her nose. I didn't want to embarrass her, so I stepped back out and from a distance asked where I set my clean clothes as I was walking back in, to make it seem like I was just coming in. She was visibly startled and quickly stopped, but continued to lay there with her eyes closed. I pretended that I saw nothing, but I couldn't help but smile. It was such an innocent and human moment. I have no idea why, but it made me realize right then and there that I loved everything about her. As silly as that moment was, there was a beauty in it, and I cherish that memory. The time I had intercourse with a snowman in a ditch behind my house. Though it was innocent, it's not something I'd talk about with anyone except the thousands of Redditors and millions people who saw the story I posted here that someone put on YouTube. Anyway, I guess I could tell it again. So, I believe it was March 1993 and a huge blizzard swept the East Coast. I was young, bored and extremely horny. I didn't know then what exactly it was that I was feeling but knew that it was normal for my age. Well, we were out of school for what must have been 3 weeks but felt like an eternity. I wasn't around anyone my age. There were no girls in my neighborhood and obviously no internet for browsing of a certain kind, but even if there was, I'd definitely be too afraid to attempt it. One evening before dark, I decided enough was enough and I couldn't handle the urge anymore. I had been holding back for weeks because I was too embarrassed to do anything in the bathroom. The guilt and anxiety of someone catching me was too much. My room wasn't an option because the door didn't lock, and when my door was shut someone would ask why or just open it. It was far too risky and I couldn't jeopardize my reputation of being the only normal one in my family. I threw on my snow clothes and scuttled off into the wilderness behind my house with a plan. I wasn't sure I'd actually do it, but I wasn't exactly thinking straight either, for obvious reasons. Once I arrived at my destination, I decided to slide down into a gully that was about 15 feet deep. I sat there for a few minutes and listened for footsteps in case someone saw me. But it was silent, completely silent, where I could almost hear my inner voice say, "Don't do it, man. This is the moment of no return," I told myself. I was like a runaway train never going back, wrong way on a one-way track. Anyway, I got to work and started shaping Snow into a female body. She had boobs, curves and the necessary inlet. I unzipped and went ahead with the task that lay before me, and within a minute or so it was all over. A few seconds of guilt and shame overcame me as I zipped up and erased the evidence. I crawled out of the gully back through the woods to my house. I went to my room and tried my best to forget her, but to my surprise that would be impossible, and every time it snows, I still think of her. Sometimes I just sit in my car outside work or our apartment for 20 to 30 minutes because I need some time alone. I have my mind full to the brim at work and rarely get time in the house alone. Sometimes I just need it to be quiet and not have to pay attention to anything. The reason I wasn't hungry that one day in Dublin was because when I stayed behind to get ready while she waited in the lobby, I ate the entire box of leftover chicken wings that we took home from the restaurant the day before. I ate 15 cold, oily chicken wings in about 5 minutes at 9 a.m. before heading out for breakfast. That's as much as I love him, with all my heart and soul. Even after a decade of being together, his relentless negativity and pessimism does my head in sometimes. I have been molested 4 times by 4 different old guys, and I am male. I dropped the diaper rash cream container on our daughter's head when she was like 8 days old. She let out this scream that still haunts me. When he came in the room to see what happened, I lied and said I just dropped the lid on her. It was a container. Like the ones you'd see on a ship. Her cooking isn't very nice. I'm not cooking because I try to be nice. I cook because I want to eat something that doesn't taste like I'm rimming a feral raccoon with explosive diarrhea. Sorry honey, but you might need to learn how to cook if you want to cook. It's not that I'd never tell her, it's that I don't think we're at the part of the relationship where I can tell her just yet. But I love her. I've broken your personalized cup your sister got you 3 times. I recreated the design on paint and got some screen printing stall at the mall to print it on the cup. Each time it looks a little bit different. I mean after the second time you just need to save the design my guy. That my wife always screams, she just doesn't seem to be able to talk at a normal level. Feel like she should be selling fish at a marketplace. Love her though. I love her food, but I always feel bad when she's cooking for me. I worked as a muscle guy in my early 20s and made a chunk of money getting good at hurting people. She's a pretty anti-violence Buddhist, so I'm not gonna bring that up lol. Every time we're playing Yahtzee and she asks do I have one more roll or was that 3 I always say one more regardless of the truth. My parents thinks he's gay. Son, I think your partner is weird. He's probably gay. My parents were convinced my high school best friend was gay. They also didn't know we were sleeping together. That I actually prefer creamy peanut butter. I buy the extra crunchy because that's what he likes. Why not buy both? Woo, look at rich guy over here.